Salam Hari Minggu. Ini adalah edisi ke-8 series Sense with Science, Apa Kata Sains, dengan saya Karen Michaela Tan, perunding sesi dan 2 orang pakar perubatan yang tidak lagi asing bagi kami. Tan Sri Dr. Jamila Mahmud dan Profesor Dr. Adibah Kamaruzzaman dari Universiti Malaya, who is right now going to log in soon. We're waiting for her, but in the meantime, you have 2 amazing women on the show.
Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera semua. Selepas seminggu kita rehat, kita sudah pulang dengan satu lagi episod Science with Science atau Apa Kata Sains. Dan kita selalu mendengar ada kerisauan kerana sekolah telah bermula. Jadi pada episod ini kita akan bersama dengan tetamu khas untuk membincangkan keadaan sekolah, pembukaan sekolah dan pandemik juga. Tapi juga kita akan membincangkan peranan wanita dalam sains yang kita dari asalnya program Sense with Science telah memberi fokus kepada. Dan hari ini kita ada bersama kita Nur Nabihah Hashim yang saya kenal lama kerana dia merupakan satu fellow Teach for Malaysia pada satu masa dulu. Dan Nur Nabihah adalah Ketua Program yang disebutkan Girls in Engineering, Maths and Science atau GEMS, sebuah program khusus untuk gadis-gadis muda, bina keyakinan dan minat untuk menyertai bidangan sains, teknologi, STEM. Dan kami akan mendengar secara langsung cara-cara kreatif GEMS telah melangsungi dan juga bagaimana Nabihah telah menggunakan pengetahuan beliau dalam bidangan sains dan teknologi di dalam kelas semasa mengajar dan juga kepada Teach for Malaysia Fellows yang lain. Jadi kita juga mungkin ada antara kalangan audiens hari ini yang ada anak-anak yang pulang ke sekolah yang mungkin ada kerisauan tentang COVID. Jadi kita akan juga dapat menerangkan beberapa fakta dan juga kalau ada soalan silalah type ke dalam Facebook comments. Kita akan menjalankan sesi ini dalam 2 bahasa, bahasa Malaysia dan bahasa Inggeris. Okay, over back to you, Karen.
So welcome to Science Dr. Nur Nabihah Hashim. For those unfamiliar with her, Nabihah leads ARUS's Girls in Engineering, Math and Science program, Girls for Tech Content Development project with MasterCard, and she also runs teacher training in ARUS. She has an academic background in, get this, molecular bioscience and biotechnology. And she's been part of the Teach for Malaysia program, as Dr. Jim had said. And she also leads a girls-only program, which involves lessons on computational thinking, problem solving, design thinking skills using open source software and compatible hardware. I'm feeling a little bit small now, since I actually have to pay IKEA to assemble my cupboards.
Sorry, I'm Adibah.
Oh, Prof. Adibah! Selamat datang, Prof.
Thank you. I misplaced my phone and couldn't find the link.
Lie. Profesor sihat hari ini?
Yes. Alhamdulillah. A bit frazzled sebab kesana ke sini.
Duduk sekejap.
Tengoklah rambut pun frazzled.
Rambut macam Matt Professor.
Sebab
It's been missing, Prof.
Where's my phone?
Right, Prof, you've just come in at an optimum time. Nabihah is just about to tell us something about herself and to speak about the work she's been doing, especially in the time of COVID.
Okay, don't let me interrupt. So sorry, ladies. One of those days, yeah.
No problems. All yours, Nabihah.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. Welcome, Dr. Adibah. You come in at the right time. Assalamualaikum, very good afternoon. My name is Nabihah. I'm a teacher training specialist in ARUS Academy. It's a social enterprise where we empower leaders of today, students, teachers, essentially everyone to have a meaningful learning experience. So what do? We train teachers, we engage with youth, and we also do programs with community. So we want to make learning relevant for everyone. And I'm also Ketua Program untuk Girls in Engineering, Math and Science, which is GEMS. Okay, pada tahun 2019, GEMS adalah program 9 bulan kita buat di sekolah di Penang. And kami teroka robotik, reka bentuk teknologi dan juga yang paling penting adalah kepimpinan diri murid perempuan. Okay. Dan salah satu komponen penting dalam GEMS, kita juga terapkan female role models. We want to show local female role models. Ada banyak wanita hebat di Malaysia such as Dr. Jamila, Prof. Adiba kita sendiri di sini. So we want to show that there are many leaders in Malaysia that you can look up to. So you know what they say, like girls, you can be what you can see. So when we put all these role models, they orang boleh tengok, oh, I can be someone like this in the future. So also semasa pandemik, Arus banyak menganjurkan program bukan saja dalam coding, pengaturcaraan, tapi juga ada banyak bengkel latihan guru, camp literasi kewangan. So we really go beyond to assist guru-guru dalam pembelajaran dalam talian. So go back to GEMS again. How does it started? It's in 2015. It was founded by 4 alumni students. They participate in a competition called My Harapan Challenge, and then they got this runner-up prize to start a girls-only club in the school. And then what is more interesting, like this year, after 5 years, in 2020, our alumni Gayatri and Felicia, which is now in college, they come back to teach primary school students. So I think it's very liberating to see like girls support another group of girls. And then I think like they also couldn't believe that the program that they have started early on has impacted more than 51 girls, in more than 10 schools. So I'm very proud to see how much they have achieved in a short amount of time. And then when we talk about pandemic last year, my students have to go through 3 phases of learning. First, they come to our center to learn, so it's on-site classes, and then they're going back to online classes for about 5 months. And then we do like a mixed mode classroom where kita buat class on-site, but we also do offer online consultation if needed. So after going through all this process and then they somehow graduated, so it was such a humbling experience for me.
That sounds amazing. I mean, it sounds really, really profound, but what really stands out for me is, the early assimilation in the sciences. Do you think that kind of early assimilation helps girls approach things like this pandemic in a more reasonable, scientific way? I've personally seen my 12-year-old daughter's reaction to COVID change from fear to understanding over a year spent with rational women of science like Dr. Jim and Professor Adiba.
Definitely, I think like early exposure really helps girls look at science. It's everywhere around them. It's not confined to the 4 walls of a classroom. And then during this pandemic as well, I can see a lot of parents try to teach their kids like a good hygiene technique, and teachers also find creative ways to show how the virus spread around us. And then Arus content specialist team also developed another module called Voices of COVID Generation, where we select 4 subjects which are mathematics, science, geography, and history. So these modules are all in the national curriculum, but we want to incorporate issues related to COVID-19 to make sure that all these children and youth understand what's going on with the pandemic. So the student will go through 5 learning milestones, and then they're going to look at within themselves how to express what they are feeling about the quarantine, the pandemic, to share with the world. So once they find their voices, and then they're going to share their reflection through videos, painting, 3D models, poster. So we do like virtual museum, Google Earth tour to make sure that students also have a voice to have an outlet to say like what are they currently feeling. And then I think like representation also important because girls want to see another girl or woman in the field to make sure that they feel like really belong and safe. And then that's why we design our program to have like equal representation so that kids are exposed to different perspectives at a very young age. So in this program, Voices of COVID Generation, once we have all this reflection, we ask this question. Okay, so once you know how this pandemic goes on, who else is more affected than others? So maybe they can think about refugees, and then just now Dr. Jamila shared about orang asli community, homeless, single mothers, working women. So it's actually exposed how other community, marginalized community, also affected differently. And then I think that it's very important for girls and boys to see how society is designed so that they can grow up and then change the way, changing these roles in a way.
In
Yeah.
many of the interviews you've done before, Nabihah, you've
Mhm.
used a phrase quite constantly, and you've said learning language and culture. I'm fascinated with that. Tell us more about whether a person's learning language and culture can be guided or whether it's something they're born with. Perhaps it's a case of nature versus nurture. What do you find in your work with girls in science?
In my work and also one of my passion to learn languages, I think I learned Arabic since secondary school, and also up to in university I also took a class, and I hope to learn more like Korean and French as well. So I think for these questions, okay, nature is how we develop as a result of genetic inheritance. For example, is your eye color is attribute that you're born with, while nurture is affected through your environmental factors. But then in this language learning, from my experience with children, I think it's might as well as the combination of both, because children, human per se, are naturally curious. We want to see, we want to know more about what's happening around us, how does other language looks like, and then the way that we support this curiosity is building a support system around us. So it's kind of like mixture between nurture and nature, not to say like one's over the other.
Speaking about children, Karen, Erin has been with us, following Sense with Science, and she was on our first episode. So she started school recently. So where is Erin?
Well, come on out, Erin. Here she is. Here's Erin, everyone.
Hi, good
Hello,
to have
Erin.
you back, Erin.
Hi, Dr.
But before I ask you a question, welcome back, Erin. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I just can't let this pass without saying to Nabihah, Nabihah, those of us who are no longer in the primary or secondary school system, you hear nothing but negative things about Malaysian schools these days. Listening to you've just given me so much hope, and wow, it's amazing what you're doing. And I'm, I don't know you, but now I feel like I know you, and I'm so proud of you. And, I hope there are many, many Nabihahs out there, doing these wonderful things for our next generation. So congratulations. It's amazing.
Yes,
Thank you.
Great work, Nabihah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Super work.
You've just completely inspired me. Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's not, Nabihah belongs to a whole cohort of wonderful alumni of Teach for Malaysia, an organization very close to my heart because I used to be a chair of Teach for Malaysia. And, Arus Academy that is run by Alina and her friends is just, doing amazing things to inspire young people.
Yeah, so there is hope. I mean, I don't have school-going children anymore, but it's really nice to hear what you're doing, and wonderful. So anyway, Erin, welcome back. How's school been?
It's been better than I expected.
Oh, good. Were you nervous initially to go back to school with all the you know, with all the news about the potential to get infected and all of that?
Yes, it was really nervous, but even though I knew my classmates already since we had a few months of online class, I was quite nervous to meet them in person for the first time.
Right. And how do you feel now? Does your school have, you know, strict SOPs and all the regulations in place to ensure that, you know, that none of you get infected, none of your teachers get infected?
Well, the SOPs are quite strict. We need to sanitize and take our temperature at the gate of school. But once we get into the class, some people still walk around and talk to their friends.
Oh.
But masking, what about wearing masks? Does everybody keep their mask on all the time?
Yes, everyone needs to wear a mask all the time in class.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do when at break time? I think that's when, you know, it's easy enough to keep everyone distance in class, but at break time and at meal times, what do you all do?
At break times, we can't go to the canteen anymore, so we all have to bring our own lunch from home. But some people don't bring their own lunch, but money. So they go down to the canteen and buy food, then they come back up to class to eat it.
But so far so good, and you're less fearful to go to school, I hope?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, you're young, fit, and well. Hopefully, you know, inshallah, as we say, nobody gets infected. And yeah.
Do your teachers and you yourself remind each other all the time that it's very important to observe the SOPs?
Yes, we always get a reminder every time we enter the school.
Yeah. You know, some exciting news has come out recently that, you know, Pfizer is asking the US FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, for permission to get approval for, you know, in the US, children, I mean, people above 16 years of age are being vaccinated. So they're now asking to lower the age of vaccination until 12. So, you know, if we get that approval, Erin, would you take the vaccine?
Loaded question for a person with a morbid fear of injections.
Yeah.
Well, even though injections are painful, dying is more painful, so I think that I take the vaccine.
Hey, well
Good
done.
girl. Good girl.
Well done, Erin. And then you can hug your kongkong, your grandma, your grandpa, right? And you don't have to worry so much.
Yeah, right now her main worry is looking dumb on a live stream feed. You know,
Not?
No, Erin's our girl hero. And I hear you like science, right, Erin?
Yes, it's my favorite subject.
Really? Well, Nabihah, there you have a young talent to groom.
Yeah, I'm gonna recruit you for our next program.
whoa, recruitment for next program. Okay, but Erin has a question for Nabihah. There you go.
Why is there such a need to promote STM girls? Why do people think girls don't like science? It's my favorite subject, and I'm lucky because I have two great science teachers. My tutor, Mr. Nawin, is a medical doctor who loves teaching science. And my science teacher, Cikgu Ibrahim, doesn't think that girls need to be taught science differently.
Thanks for the question, Erin. I think it's great that you have two lovely teachers for science. And then Cikgu Ibrahim is right. There's no need to teach science to girls differently. I also believe that we empower the girls without forgetting the boys, make sure it's inclusive. However, from our survey, we conducted a survey for school children. They found out that girls are less likely to join robotics classes or science classes because they think that it belongs to boys. So it's the stereotype that is already ingrained in the society. So that's why we come up with the idea of girls on the club. And then why do we do this? Because we wanted to provide a safe, or should I say a brave space for the girls to communicate actively, to become more confident, to learn new skills. And then I think they are more comfortable learning new language and apply them directly when we are in the group of similar and like-minded people. And then second, we design our curriculum to incorporate Malaysian female role models such as Dr. Amani Salim, Dr. Habibah, and a lot of other prominent women in science. So we also equip our teachers to be sensitive on all these existing stereotypes that is in our society, and then we try to address them whenever possible. So that's the idea of Girls Only program. We want to make sure that it's also like inclusive to everyone, not only girls. Yeah, back to you, Karen.
All right. I think Erin has one question that she's been asking me, and I've asked her to ask Dr. Jim. So maybe Dr. Jim, you can feel this one. Come on, Erin. What was the question?
Dr. Jim, your health advisor to the Prime Minister, right? Can you tell me when my teachers are going to get vaccinated? If students can't take the vaccine, my mom and dad have to wait, then maybe teachers need to get vaccinated quickly because they speak to a class of 40 students each day.
Yeah, that's a really, really important and good question, Erin. Now, one thing you may not know, Erin, is that a number of teachers have already been vaccinated, but you know there are many, many teachers in Malaysia. So we vaccinated in the first sort of this, what we call the frontliners, teachers who are particularly those who have comorbidities because they are more at high risk. And, you know, our challenge in Malaysia is not that we don't want to vaccinate people. We don't have enough supplies. You know, there's a global shortage of vaccines because a lot of it has been taken by the developed world. So we have to keep, you know, putting the pressure on the manufacturers to come and to give us the supplies we need. So we think that, you know, teachers are very important. They are our, you know, frontliners, as you said, if we have to protect them. So we are now, you know, slowly distributing the vaccine so that teachers will continue to get them. And by June, we hope to have a very much higher volume of vaccines coming in and more regularly. So when that happens, you can be assured that not just teachers, but also your parents, you know, of course, your grandparents first, and then your parents and others will also get it. So it's a very important question you ask. It's very important we get teachers vaccinated.
Prof. Adiba, dalam pendapat Prof, you know, cuba Prof give your opinion on what you think about you know, our vaccine rollout, terutamanya kepada pihak guru-guru dan and the teachers and lecturers in universities.
Yeah, I think like Dr. Jim said, you know, teachers really belong to the frontliners. It is essential that we get our school children back to school, you know, learning in a school environment and not online. I bet you've missed seeing your friends and, you know, interacting with them, right, Erin? Because, you know, growing up and learning is not just about the syllabus, about the content that you can get online. It's you know, it's about playing with each other. It's about fighting with each other. All that's part of growth and development that you can only get when you interact with one another. So going back to school, and in the case of university, going back to, you know, our medical students have now slowly come back, but the senior ones, not the junior ones yet. So there's every reason to make sure that our lecturers and our teachers get vaccinated as quickly as possible. But you've just heard the kekangan lah for the government in terms of the vaccine supply. Mm-hmm.
I think it really makes me chafe when I hear Dr. Jim say the developed world, you know, the developed world gets the vaccines first. And I'm thinking, the developed nations, I mean, what are we? We're not a developed nation. We're sitting in front of a computer addressing, you know, a couple of thousands of people, and we're not developed.
We're still middle income country, Karen. When I say developed world, I'm talking about the global north, the G20s and so forth. You know, some countries have for per capita 9 vaccines and some have 5 for per capita. So it's called hoarding. So it's unfortunate, but this is the way it is. I think we should consider ourselves quite lucky because we did manage to secure quite a good deal with Pfizer and Sinovac and others. So, you know, we will get more than 100% supply that we need because, you know, when children are able to be vaccinated, bila kita dah boleh memberi vaksinasi pada anak-anak 12 tahun dan ke atas, ini semua bergantung kepada pelepasan daripada NPRA. Jadi, you know, sebab tu kita order pun lebih daripada 100%, and our vaccine portfolio yang kita is more than 50% is Pfizer.
A question on my personal Facebook, Dr. Jim, following on what we've just discussed. The question is Kari Jamaluddin said something about us, the rollout being slow because we did not order enough vaccines. And the question is it because Malaysia just does not have enough money for this?
No, I think the government has put aside 5 billion for this. I don't think Kyrie said there's not enough vaccines or because we put in our order, you know, very, very late. I think we could have put it earlier. I mean, a lot of the countries that I mentioned before not only ordered early, but they invested in the vaccine.